Welcome back to Dirty 20, everybody. Today we discuss the top 5 rules I believe you need to know before you start playing D&D. Let's get on with the show. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you had a great festive season and that you're ready for 2021 to get going. One of the things that I'm really excited about this year is the number of new players for D&D that I think are coming into the game. Just before this kind of most recent Christmas time lockdown in the UK, the shop that I was working at, there were a lot of people coming in and asking about D&D, wanting to get into it. So that's really exciting, and I think 2021 is going to be a great year for the game. I recently started looking into the Star Wars RPG game by FFG. If you haven't checked it out yet, please go watch our video on different RPGs that are worth checking out, where we give an overview of it. But I was reading through it and I was thinking about, well, what is the kind of bare minimum rules that I need to know in order to start playing this game? And it made me think that it would be cool to make a video about what are the kind of most basic rules that I believe you need to kind of get your head around in order to just start playing D&D 5th edition. And so here we have it, my top 5 rules to know before you start playing D&D. You don't need to know any of the rules. Okay, so obviously I'm cheating on my first one, but hear me out. I think the most difficult step to take in order to start playing D&D and role-playing games in general is just taking that decision to sit down with a group of people and do some joint storytelling. And, you know, for some people that's really easy. They can sit down with a bunch of strangers at a convention or something like that and just play an RPG. For other people, it's a little bit more difficult. But I think that first decision is the most important one. And it's the kind of thing that I really don't think you need to know any rules if you have the right kind of situation, whether it's an experienced player who's willing to DM for you, or joining a group of experienced players that can help you, or doing a couple of one-shots and stuff like that. The rule of cool. This may seem like another cheat, but I promise it is really a thing. I think one of the reasons why it's important to know the rule of cool and understand it is because it's an overriding rule. It's the one that, at the end of the day, regardless of what the rules say or what the book says or anything like that, if it's cool, the Dungeon Master can let it happen. Essentially, it means that whatever it is you want to do, if it is not covered by the rules, or you are asking to do something which is essentially a little bit more than what the rules as written are, then the DM can just decide to let you try to do it. Now, I love this rule, and I think it is perhaps, some people call it the golden rule in some RPGs, but it really is a massive element of all role-playing games, because I think it's a statement that you're not here to specifically follow the rules. You're here to have fun. That's the goal, right? And so the idea that if the rules don't allow you to do something, but it would be really cool to try and do it, then why not? Now, the danger is that you can get a little bit overindulgent. And that's definitely something that the Dungeon Master has to try and, kind of arbitrate. The rules definitely give structure, and as you play more and more, you will learn the rules. But in terms of just a basic kind of almost mission statement, if it's cool, go for it. The D20 system. D&D uses a D20 system. This basically means that you're going to be rolling a D20 whenever you're trying to determine whether you are successful or fail at something that has the possibility of failing. So essentially, you make rolls not for things that you do all the time, like, you know, walking or opening a door or things like that, but things that have a potential for failure, and that's always like a tricky thing to do. But the D20 system means that you're going to be rolling a D20 that looks like this for pretty much all of your skill checks, attack rolls, and saving throws. Rolling high is good. Now, that may seem silly, but there was a time when that was not the case. We were trying to roll low. So rolling high is good. Rolling a natural 20 can be very good, particularly when rolling for attacks. But equally, rolling a natural 1, sometimes called a critical failure, can also can be very bad. And so, although there are kind of lots of dice, and again, we've done a video on the different types of dice that the system uses, most of the time, you're going to be dealing with the D20. Ability scores. Now, ability scores are the stats that your character has and will be using during the game. All games have these stats. They call them different things. But in D&D and 5th edition, it is strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Now, when you create your character, this is when you will set these stats. And there's different ways of doing it. We've done a video on character creation, definitely worth checking out. But essentially, you're either going to roll for them or you're going to use points to buy the numbers. And it's going to be a number between probably 6 at the very lowest, I would imagine, all the way up to 20. And where that's important is where this chart comes in. This chart is really handy because it essentially explains what that number means for your bonus, for when you roll dice to make the checks, as we talked about in the D20 system. So, for example, if we look at the chart and we check that a strength of 13 would give you a +1. That means that whenever you have to make a roll, anything to do with strength, whether you're lifting a big rock or trying to break a door down, you're going to roll a d20 and you are going to add that bonus, that plus. In this case, my strength is 13, so the bonus is +1. These stats also impact your skills and how good you are at things like survival, intimidation, or even something like religion. Finally, we have proficiency. Proficiency is something which every character gets, which shows you how good that character is when they are trained in something. Basically, it's the difference between somebody who has never taken a gymnastics class in their life, and someone who is quite well trained. Maybe they've worked as a trapeze artist or something like that, right? So in this case, the acrobatics of a character who has had no training is just their basic dexterity bonus, or if they are trained in it, it'll be their dexterity bonus plus their proficiency number. So if we look at the skills on a character sheet, we can see that right next to the skill, there's a kind of a little dot. If you are trained in a particular skill, then this dot is shaded, and you are able to add your proficiency to your rolls whenever you're doing a check on that skill. So for example, if my character wants to make a skill check, maybe they are tracking a creature in the woods and they're going to do a survival check. So in this case, I would look at the wisdom score for this character. Let's say that in this case it's 13 again, which is a +1 according to the chart. So I will roll my d20, and let's say in this case I get a 17. I add my +1 because my wisdom is 13, and I am trained in survival, so I can add my proficiency, a further +2. So I rolled 17, I add 1, I add 2, I get a total of 20. In this case, a dirty 20. Keep slaying. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. As always, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please do share this video with any friends who are thinking about trying 5th edition out, but perhaps they're a little bit intimidated by the amount of rules that they would have to learn. Again, this is a good starting point. Once you have these things kind of down in your head, then every session you're going to be able to learn more, and check out our other videos to learn all about how to play D&D. Check out our one-shot, the Crystalline Snowflake, which we did over Christmas, to see what a game of D&D is like. And head on over to our website where you are actually able to download the PDF and try the adventure out for yourself. And finally, let me ask you, what rules would you add to this list? Do you think that there's something vital that a player really needs to kind of get a handle on before they can really start playing and enjoying the game? Thanks again, guys, and keep slaying. If you've enjoyed this content, then please smash that like button, subscribe, share this around online, and come and visit our website, www.lavictoriaproductions.com, to see all our past episodes, as well as our blog posts and all the stuff that we're currently working on at La Victoria Productions. Why not reach out to us and tell us what you think of our videos? You can reach us on Twitter. @MouthLaVictoria is our producer. We are also on Instagram. I am EnanoLVP, and our producer is Jazzy J. Cherot. We're also La Victoria Productions on Facebook and LinkedIn. Come on by and let us know what you think.